Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Reviews, where today we're going to be checking out an EP from an act named Joe Potter titled Rocks. And if we switch over to here, we have an interesting situation here. I don't have this often. We have 6 tracks, but 3 of them are acoustic and 3 of them are electric, and as I understand it, there are 3 tracks that have both acoustic and electric versions. So I think today what we're going to do is we're going to listen through, we'll listen through the first track, Whiskey Haze, the acoustic, then the electric version, and we'll compare the differences between the two as well as talking about both of them. And we'll just work our way through the EP like that. I think that'd be a good way of putting it forward. I'll just set the art up here so you guys can see it, and we're going to listen through each of these tracks from start to finish, and we're going to hear what we think. Starting, as aforementioned, with Whiskey Haze acoustic. Let's go. We can definitely play the strings.
You're not here when I wake, and the sun doesn't rise on my soul. How much longer will it take? When will you release this hold? I don't know the when or how, but I know what I need right now. Get me into the bottle, won't stop until it breaks. Cause this misery got a hold on me. That whiskey don't make me.
I mean, like the guitar playing on either side, because there's 2 different takes, it's double tracked. There's different parts being performed there, and the way they articulate individually and also come together is just really intriguing. There's a sleekness to it, and the story in the middle of it all coming from Joe Potter talking about her struggles with the bottle and drinking it until it breaks and stuff like that. It's just heart-wrenching, you know?
I don't know where you're gone, but you took my heart when you left. Now my pain's from dusk till dawn, and I feel it so with every breath. Now I'm hedging on the brink, so I'll drown myself in the drink. Get me into the bottle, won't stop until it breaks. Cause this misery got a hold on me, and that whiskey don't make me. Get me into the bottle, won't stop until it breaks. This misery got a hold on me, and that whiskey don't make me think about what you put me through.
I like that major turn there at the end there. It's really intriguing. I also like how we messed around with the end of the first chorus, or the first time through the chorus, to kind of split it up, make it a little bit unpredictable, to then go through another round of it. I think that's really clever, transitioning a songwriting.
And I don't wish for better days, and I don't miss your ways, but this whiskey haze gets me get over you. Yes, this whiskey haze gets me get over you.
A little bit of vocal fry there, nice.
So then get me into the bottle, won't stop until it breaks. Cause this misery got a hold on me, and that whiskey don't make me. Get me into the bottle, won't stop until it breaks. Cause this misery got a hold on me, and that whiskey don't make me. Get me into the bottle, won't stop until it breaks. Cause that whiskey, it don't make me ache.
That whiskey don't make me ache. Now, often people will do acoustic versions after they've done the main versions. And for me, it's like, I think it can be good to look at the minimalism that can come from an acoustic version of a song and then put it upwards and try and make something bigger out of it, you know. We have someone with their guitar talking about the troubles they've had with the person that's left them and going to alcohol to try and sort of numb the pain from that. And the story is fairly straightforward and easy to understand. You can hear the pain in the voice there. It's pure. The expression is so easy to kind of like understand, and you feel it in your bones. You know, there's a lot going on with the vocals and the melodies, and a bit of vocal fry occasionally, a bit of grit there to go alongside the sassiness of some of those blues rotations within the six strings on the sides. I just think the fact that we had different riffs on each side there, we were comfortable going between different iterations of the various sections, manipulating them as per the double chorus we had in the middle, which was quite well done. Going into a guitar solo later on, that interlude, which was really sick as well, I appreciate the fact that we kind of realized that even when the story was compelling, we could still have an alternate lead in a sense to kind of elevate things further. It's well handled. It's definitely entertaining enough on its own, even though I do feel for Joe Potter in the situation. But we're going to check out the electric version now. Completely different atmosphere.
You're not here when I wake, and the sun doesn't rise on my soul. How much longer will it take? When will you release this hold?
See how much more dynamic it is with the guitars, those sort of guitars and the bass and the drums. Even though it's still interesting to have the acoustic cover, I feel like we've added more by having these big breaks between when the guitars are in there playing their riff or not. And it's just the bass and drums and such.
I don't know the when or how, but I know what I need right now. Get me into the battle, won't stop until it breaks. 'Cause this misery got a
And use some bends in the background, nice.
hold on, make me ache. I don't know where you're gone, which took my heart when you left. I know my pains from dusk till dawn, and I feel it so with every breath. Now I'm edging on the brink, so I'll drown myself in the drink. Get me into the battle, won't stop until it breaks. 'Cause this misery got a hold on me, and that whiskey don't make me, don't make me. Get me into the battle, won't stop until it breaks. 'Cause this misery got a hold on me, and that whiskey don't make me, don't make me think about what you put me through.
And there's this massive build with the increase in intensity of those different kick drums, the vocals building again. There's a similar level of perceived loudness to it.
Make me think about the time I spent with you.
But it's those side vocals as well that make it so powerful, you know?
Days and I don't miss your ways, but this whiskey haze gets me get over you. Yes, this whiskey haze gets me get over you. So then get me into the battle, won't stop until it breaks. 'Cause this misery got a hold on me, and that whiskey don't make me, don't make me. Get me into the battle, won't stop until it breaks. 'Cause this misery got a hold on me, and that whiskey don't make me, don't make me. Get me into the battle, won't stop
I'm just enjoying it now.
until it breaks. 'Cause that whiskey, it don't make me ache.
Great triplet fills as well on the drums. I really admire that. I think that the percussionist is sensational. The track, I think, yeah. I don't know which I prefer. I think both have their merits. Whiskey Haze, the electric version, definitely had a lot more oomph with those distorted guitars, the pulse of the drums there, the bass line, the multiple unison bends in those chorus parts. I think we also had additional vocal takes on the sides in some of those sections now, those harmonies that really propelled it further and made it really kind of huge sounding. And the solo as well, with the distorted guitar in that later stage there, I think was elevated because of the sassiness of the tone of that instrument. It's added again, it really played on the bluesy pentatonic elements that you had featured within the acoustic version, but it really was that strong lead voice there as opposed to more of a similar texture we had with the acoustic lead in the previous track. Now, the song's about the same thing as last time, But like basically I think here, yeah, it's just great that we could take that same story and put it into two different formats and make it still work. But we've got more of that to come. We've got Desire, the acoustic version, so that's track number 3 for today. Interesting last chord there.
Wicked waves wash over me as the sun goes down real slow. Make your way to me, boy, down the muddy road. Don't make me wait for what you got. My skin is burning 38 hot. Turn it up, give me what I need. And take me into the fire. Lay me down on them poles. 'Cause I'm burning up with my desire. And the devil's got my soul.
I like the use of the organ in this. I think that bit of vibrato it has in it, that warbliness is kind of nice and tender sounding. Really bright steel strings as well.
Demons dancing in my head and trouble's what I need. I never had something so bad that's taken over me. I've got nothing left to lose. This temptation's what I choose. Take me, make me suffer for my sins. And take me into the fire. Lay me down on them coals. 'Cause I'm burning up with my desire. And you know the devil's got my soul. I said take me into the fire. Lay me down on them coals. 'Cause I'm burning up with my desire. And the devil's got my soul.
Like, it's a bit more involved than the previous track was, and I think we've also got like either an electric or a double bass in the background there. It's a bit thicker sounding. It's a different type of acoustic.
I ain't got no shame. 'Cause I'm burning hot and I need the flame. Please don't stop, 'cause I love the pain. And turn it off once again. And take me into the fire. Lay me down on them coals. 'Cause I'm burning up with my desire. And you know the devil's got my soul. I said take me into the fire. Lay me down on them coals. 'Cause I'm burning up with my desire. And the devil's got my soul.
Oh, we're crying out because the devil's got their soul. It's really intense, you know.
He's got my soul.
A lot of that's communicated from the vocals and the way they're expressed.
He's got my soul. He's got my soul. He's got my soul.
Oh, that was a really charming effort from Joe Potter, Desire. It's nice to hear. It's quite a raunchy track, but I think there's nothing wrong with that. The acoustic guitars here, I think the combination of the guitars, the organs, the bass, they are more of a firm kind of aesthetic than we had with Whiskey Haze, where I appreciate that it's a bit fuller sounding here. I think that heaviness lends credence to the kind of intensity of the feelings that Joe Potter is experiencing at that point in time. The organs kind of remind me of kind of a spirituality thing, like being in a church or something like that, which is interesting, talking about, the devil's got my soul, etc. It's a nice kind of twist there. I think it also provides a nice bit of higher end resonance there if it's harmonizing with those guitar strummed parts on the sides and then the bass down below. It fills up the mix or the arrangement really nicely. It's not just that the melodies that we're singing are really effective and they coalesce well with the rest of the elements within the arrangement. It's also the way we're singing, again, the way we express ourselves. And Joe Potter is very, very good at that. It's a very different way that we're sort of like communicating in, for instance, Whiskey Haze. You got to kind of modify yourself in the way you speak to the listener per track to kind of make it seem like each track is individual. So I think we nailed that, and ultimately the mixing and stuff is pretty good as well. The performance on the bass in general, the instrumental performance has been quite tight. I feel like I'm being potentially overly positive about this, but at the same time, it's just well done. There's like sad parts to it, like the minor chords and stuff like that are sad, but it's weird. It's almost like there's a bordering on melancholy with the way that we're expressing just kind of how much we want that thing. There's a bit of a juxtaposition there, but that's okay. We're going to listen to the electric version now and potentially get a bigger sense of context of it.
Wicked waves wash over me as the sun goes down real slow. Make your way to me, boy, down the muddy road. Don't make me wait for what you got. My skin is burning 38 hot. Turn it up, give me what I need. And take me into the fire. Lay me down on them coals. 'Cause I'm burning up with my desire. And the devil's got my soul.
I think the drums really make it. I was just having a think about that for a moment. Aside from the Black Keys-ish kind of, like the Black Keys, the band, right? It's got a very similar tone to their distorted guitars. They're kind of rock. It's dope. I like it. But it's not just the bass and the guitar. We had similar parts before. The drums add a great sense of pace and just the sassiness of the tone, kick and snare tones as well, like that, is really appropriate here. The eighth note groove is kind of relaxed, but there's also a sense of animosity about it. But that kind of slap of those snare drums,
Demons dancing in my head and trouble's what I need. I never had something so bad that's taken over me. I've got nothing left to lose. This temptation's what I choose. Take me, make me suffer for my sins. And take me into the fire. Lay me down on them coals. 'Cause I'm burning up with my desire. And you know the devil's got my soul. Listen, take me into the fire. Lay me down on them coals. 'Cause I'm burning up with my desire. And the devil's got my soul. And I ain't got no shame. 'Cause I'm burning hot and I need the flame. Please don't stop, 'cause I love the pain. And turn it up once again.
So clearly this track is about feeling an intense passion and desire for someone and having to sort of like deal with the demons related to that. And the higher end vocals kind of sound like a choir, like a church choir or something like that around her. It's very kind of like as if we're having like an inner awakening or something like that.
Me into the fire, lay me down on them coals. 'Cause I'm burning up with my
Middle eight.
desire. And you know the devil's got my soul. Listen, take me into the fire. Lay me down on them coals. 'Cause I'm burning up with my desire. And the devil's got my soul. He's got my soul. He's got my soul. He's got my soul.
I'm just starting to click with that. That soul part, is that we gave into it and that was the deal we did with the devil? Is the devil the person that we gave ourselves to out of desire? That's interesting. The story is intriguing. I think that again, the extra intensity of those distorted guitars, just add a sense of kind of like it kind of spiciness to it. I think it was palatable beforehand with the guitarist, bass, and the choir, and there's a lot of the intensity was coming from the vocal performance there, the way we expressed ourselves in an acoustic version. Here, you get a similar nature to the vocal performance in certain parts to the guitar, and they also occupy similar frequency use ranges, so you've kind of got different instruments within a mix working together to give a feeling to listener, and it works here. The organs continue, and you get that overall sense of kind of like someone learning more about themselves and realizing how much and how kind of screwed they are along the way. It isn't just something that's communicated by the lyrics, it's also by the music surrounding it. But I think it's effective. The track is less than 3 minutes. It goes by very quickly. And I don't think it needed more than what it had. I don't think know what you could have added to it to improve it. I think they're both. There was more of a difference between the acoustic versions of Whiskey Haze and electric versions than there was between Desire. But I don't think that was a detriment. I think that you can have them similar again, having like that bass and Desire sort of made it stood out alone as an acoustic, if that makes sense. And I understand that acoustics don't just have to be acoustic guitars, don't get me wrong. The production in general, by the way, has been very good. I'm very, very happy with the way things sounded. You've really got the boxes ticked at this point. We got Troubled, the acoustic version.
I was born into the midnight sun. It made me what I've become. The scars that I suffer from pull me into the bottle. And I used to try to change my ways, but the nights get lonely. So do the days, and I pull you close, then I push you away.
A little more somber, isn't it?
I'm troubled. I know that I'm troubled. I don't mean to make you mad. I don't mean to make you ache. But I'm good at being bad, 'cause a long time ago my soul done break. You should try to forgive my ways. Tell everyone it's just a phase, and I wish it could be different someday. But you know that I'm troubled. And I know that I'm troubled.
There's like a bop, bop, bop on one side and a strummed on the other side. You got two different rhythms countering each other. And then you got Troubled, almost like the two rhythms are the two different thoughts kind of going against each other. It's interesting. Was that an organ on the right side?
And I've been locked up way too long. Silence is my love and hate. I know what I do is wrong. It's vicious, but it's something I can't break. And I don't want you to go, but I can't make this sorrow leave. I don't want to be alone, but my soul is chained and there's no reprieve. And we try to make our way. But I can't deny that I'm not afraid. You're gonna walk out on me anyway, 'cause you know that I'm troubled. And I know that I'm troubled.
We got hand drums? I only just noticed the hand drums.
That I'm troubled.
How long have we had the hand drums for? Have we had them the entire time?
I've become.
We've had them the whole entire time. They were so subtle, and the playing instrumentally was quite tight. So I didn't necessarily notice them, but I think some of the accents came along later on. Troubled. It's about, I suppose, maybe having second thoughts about the person we had that desire for, or just kind of being in two minds about their relationship, the situation, realizing we might need to sort of figure out what we really want. There's more nuance to it. I'll get that on this, listen through the electric version, but to comment, again, I think it's really cool how we had different rhythms on either side of the stereo field here to sort of bring forward the fact that, again, we were troubled. We had conflicting ideas going around in our head. The overall tone of the chords and stuff was positive and majorish, so it was almost a sense of like whimsy to it, as if like we were troubled, but we were kind of accepting of the fact that we were troubled, or maybe we just weren't trying to make it too on the nose and too kind of negative or anything like that. That could be it. I think either way, it's a song where, you get the feeling, again, with the bop, bop, bop there, we're trying to make something a little bit less kind of raunchy and intense than Desire and Whiskey Haze. Maybe we're learning from those experiences we had in those previous two tracks, and we're just trying to see it from a different angle. I'm not sure. We'll check out the electric version in a moment, but I think that, again, the vocal technique is carried here. We sang well. We told an interesting story. and the instrumental parts are solid. I think the hand drums were a nice subtle bit of percussion to kind of add a bit of difference throughout the arrangements within this EP so far. I think it's good to add a little bit of, because again, you can get away with hand drums and acoustic stuff, you know, it's totally fine. And it was a great groove. We got Troubled, the electric version.
I was born into the midnight sun. It made me what I've become. The scars that I suffer from pull me into the bottle. And I used to try to change my ways, but the nights get lonely, and so do the days. And I pull you close, then I push you away.
Yeah, so basically we're going push and pull her in a relationship. That's effectively the scheme we've got, or the situation.
I'm troubled. I know that I'm troubled. I don't mean to make you mad. I don't mean to make you ache. But I'm good at being bad. It's a long time ago, my soul done break. You should try to forgive my ways. Tell everyone it's just a phase, and I wish I could be different someday. But I know that I'm troubled. And
We got like a shaker as well, like a chicka 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 kind of thing. I'm not sure if that's related to the drum kit or if that's like another person doing that, but I think that's a nice little bit of high end resonance.
know that I'm troubled. And I've been locked up way too long. Silence is my love and hate. And I know what I do is wrong. It's vicious, but it's something I can't break. And I don't want you to go, but I can't make this sorrow leave. I don't want to be alone, but my soul is chained and there's no reprieve. And we try.
The solos, there's no reprieve. That part, ba 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 ba. I just thought that was really cool with the way it kind of stuttered, but in sync with the vocals there. There was a great sense of unison between the elements rhythmically there. It made it nice and tight, and it was a change from the legato flow that we've had previously.
We try to make our way, but I can't deny that I'm not afraid. You're gonna walk out on me anyway, 'cause you know that I'm troubled. And I know that I'm troubled. I know that I'm troubled.
Oh, what a nice little fade out with the organ at the end. Nice. Very well done. So I think the main differences between troubled, acoustic, and electric, you have the sassy ba 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 ba, that really playful guitar on the right side. I think it's a nice adjustment there. It does some interesting sort of, I don't know if it's ad lib or like, I'm assuming they planned it out, but just the way they kind of respond back to what Joe Potter is singing in the center, and they go da 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 la ba ba. It's like a call and response, but then sometimes it's also at the same time. It's kind of free flowing, and it gives the music a sense of freedom within the mix. Like we're not being constricted to fit a certain box. We're trying to make great music, but we're also allowing the other musicians within the arrangement and the performance to have their own moment as well. It was a bit slower with the drums than in previous tracks, if I'm not mistaken there. I'm troubled. There was a huge kind of like anchoring with the bass as well that went on, just the heaviness of that tone there. The bass was nice and full and thick there. The drums bombastic in the mix as well. Great sense of pep to the low end as well, with an interesting movement with the cymbals and snares, and also we had some fills occasionally as well. But it was just nice to also just have the shaker as a sub layer there and the organ going strong. Yeah, I get a feeling for what the CP is trying to do, and I think we're going to talk about this more in the conclusion. Because welcome to the conclusion, my review of the CP from an act named Joe Potter titled Rocks. Now, what do I think this is about? Well, I mean, there's 3 tracks and there's an acoustic version, an electric version for each. Whiskey, Haze, Desire, and Troubled. Now, I've spoken about what I think these 3 tracks are about per song, but just really quickly, Whiskey Haze is about having someone leave you and not being able to sort of like cope with that, the pain of it, and that having the alcohol dull that pain and talking about that. Desire is being so into someone and really kind of struggling to deal with that, and at the end the devil gets your soul. Troubled is not knowing whether you want to keep someone around or not, feeling hot and cold towards them, and kind of push-pulling within a relationship and just stuck in the middle, I suppose. So I think these tracks are related to each other. Typically they're about relationships. I think a lot of people listening to this EP, and just in general, most people can relate to relationships and the pros and cons of them, the highs and the lows. So I'm sure there'll be an audience for this track. You know, the relatability is definitely there. And the storytelling from Joe Potter is both authentic and compelling. I think that Joe is a fantastic singer, very comfortable in a hidden chest voice there, charismatic, and they know how to make these melodies really work in a way that suits both the arrangement and the story that they're trying to tell. They're comfortable within their vocal range there. When they had the harmonies in the electric versions, they'd either go up the octave and go up and do vibratos up in pitch, similar to kind of the way the organ was sounding, or they would just have a bit of sassiness in that side part. I've said sassy a lot today. I just think we understood where we needed to adjust the way the singing was done, both performatively and in studio, in order to keep it interesting, and we did that. There were no points where I was like, why are we singing this? Why does this exist here? Things made sense, and I could hear the words clearly as well. So, you know, great job with the singing and the story, and the way we sung and expressed ourselves make a lot of sense. We sounded like we were going through in pain some parts. We sounded like some parts we just really wanted someone. It's good. It's well done. The tracks are typically about 3 minutes, and we had, again, acoustic and electric elements. Typically, the acoustic versions of the tracks had guitars. Whiskey Haze was practically guitar for the most part, with acoustics on the side and then like a lead acoustic in the center. Troubled, Desire had like a bass and like an organ and stuff like that, so it was a bit fuller sounding in the low and mid highs. And then Troubled had some hand drums and some basses and some organs as well. So we added a bit more with the last 2, but they still maintained a sense of, I suppose adding an instrument each time helps to develop them throughout an EP, which is smart. But they also were a bit more gentle than Whiskey Haze, Desire, and Troubled electric. Now, when the electric versions were there, they had distorted guitar, they had drums, they had bass and organs, and they had a more kind of intense, I think, arguably more intense vocal performance from Joe Potter there to kind of keep up with the oomph of the other elements within the arrangement. And I don't think that we faltered at any point. The tracks were strong both in versions, and I don't think there was a moment where I questioned why we had 2 versions of each. I think there are people that are going to like the way Whiskey Haze was done acoustic, for example, and also electric. Personally, I prefer the electric stuff, but I also have an appreciation for the work that was done with the acoustic stuff to make it compelling. It's just that I need that dopamine, right? But I think that it's great to sort of, if I was going to recommend anyone to start getting involved in music, I'd recommend doing like something like this, where you do A and B sides, and like an electric version and an acoustic version, so that you capture more of an audience with the same track, and not only allows a bigger audience, but it also makes your song, it shows how you can change your idea into multiple formats and make it work, and it shows your ability, flexibility as a performer, as a songwriter, as a musician. So I think that it was a great idea to have these in the 2 different forms. The tracks usually had instrumental parts. Mostly there were verses, and there were occasional bridges and choruses. There were some solo sections. There were interludes and middle eights and others. There were traditional kind of contemporary structured tracks there. There were bluesy intonations. There was a bit of rock in there with the distorted guitars, the blues scales, the pentatonics come to mind there. The soloing was that kind of blues rock. There were some country elements as well, with some of the softer, more kind of fingerpick parts, and a bit of folk stuff as well. We picked up on a few different genres, and I hesitate to try and put it in one, but we used the best of those different ingredients in this mix. The combination of major and minor chords with occasional dominant sevenths. Like we didn't go too spicy with the harmonies or progressions or anything like that. We didn't get to a point where it was like, why are we getting too exotic with these ideas and concepts? But it was palatable enough songwriting wise that like I think most people will be able to access it, understand what's going on, understand how the words relate to the chords and stuff being played. The various grooves on the bass were articulate, as well as the drums there. We had some interesting quarters, eighths and 16ths, as well as some phenomenal 16th triplets later on. I think those fills are sensational across the toms. And then the organ with the whole notes, but it's just the tone of the organ there adding a sense of that spirituality, and it's very pretty. And some of the guitar parts were really gorgeous as well. We had some interesting kind of bright steel string stuff that glowed there, whilst also having that low end of the bass kind of thud in the mix, and the drums and hand drums, when I noticed them, kind of poked their head out as well. So ultimately, I think the themes in this track work well with the stuff that we're discussing. I don't really have any complaints about how we approach things. I think that they make sense. The tracks make sense with the vocals and the story. So well done on that front. The studio recording, mixing, and mastering was fantastic. I think that the vocals are nice and present in the mix, as well as the guitar, bass, drums, and organ when it popped in. The only reason I didn't notice the hand drums is simply because I think I was focused on the lyrics, and the guitar and bass and stuff were troubled. But I think ultimately they were very good as well. No weird resonant frequencies in the frequency spectrum. Things were nice and wide in the stereo field, like the double tracked vocals and the guitars with different parts on the side as well were slick. And I think that the bass was handled quite nicely, and the drums were perky without being too glued or clamped down. There was dynamic range to these tracks. They were not the same loudness all the time, but it was still nice and loud without pumping, so the bus compression and limiting was handled, and effectively this is my review of this EP from an act named Joe Potter titled Rocks. And hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show us some love via the various social medias and a SoundCloud page. I should note this was released on the 21st of April, so it's probably out on digital stream platforms as well. And stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I will catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.